Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, and it gives me great pleasure to come back to SSBMT. I've not been to any of your meetings since a long time, actually. But I would like to thank Dr. Askar and SSBMT board for this kind invitation. I thought today I'll give you a different type of presentation. We heard about ChatGPT. Everyone is talking about ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence software that, that's okay, I don't want this now. معلش بس لحظة بس. ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence software that can help write. It can help bring information together. It's not available in Saudi Arabia, but there are so many alternatives to it in Saudi Arabia. So I will show you what this software can do and how it is going to affect scientific writing as we know it. So let's start. There's this software, it's called Chat Sonic or Write Sonic. And this software is very, very similar to what we do with ChatGPT. So I'll just give you some examples. I'll ask it to write a poem about Saudi Arabia. I'll start with the general, I'll go to the scientific, but step by step I'll show you its ability, this software. طبعا it's not just one software, there are so many of them available. I'll introduce 3 of them today. So it just generated a brand new poem about Saudi Arabia that no one wrote before, by the way. You can search it. This is a computer-generated poem. The land of sand and sand in a great land of Saudi Arabia. And it makes sense. The Bedouins riding on camels, the oasis of life in the sand, the rich culture that lives on in a land of mystery and grandeur, the rich history of a great people. It brings common sense. You can sing it. You cannot imagine what this software can do. So, how to cook mansaf. This is the general. If you are planning to study for, let's say, USMLE, part 1, and you can ask it, how can I prepare for this? If you have, it can draw paintings that no one did before. So I can ask it to draw a boat in the river Niles. And I like Monet, Monet style. This is just the tip of the iceberg, what this software can do for you. And when it comes to, so these are images generated, drawings generated by this computer software, and it is generated now. If you ask the same question again, it will give you a different painting. So what can it do for us in the science? I would like to open New England Journal of Medicine, just 1 second, please. And I'll show you the latest Time. You know Time magazine? تايم ماجازين الصفحه تبعيتها الكفر تبعت الليتست اديشن إلهم كانت على الشات جي بي تي. مش عارف اطلعها، لكن الصبح شفتها على الموبايل. اذا تكتب time.com على الموبايل تطلع لك you'll have the first cover page. It's about ChatGPT and you are chatting with the computer. So what can this software do for us in the scientific now community? And this where it comes about scientific integrity, academic integrity as we know it. It will never be the same after using this software. Scientific writing will not be the same again. So let's open this. You can ask it to summarize a paper. So now I'll open a paper in New England Journal of Medicine. I'll take it's just the web link. I'll go here and I'll say summarize نقطتين فوق بعض and then semicolon. It summarizes for you the paper. It's not only can do that, you can take a text. Let's say I want this introduction, أو background. I say paraphrase it, change it. You give it anything and it will change the wording for you in a perfect English. Not only that, if you write a paragraph and you think you have some spelling or grammar issues and things, you give it to it and ask it to edit it. It will edit the whole paper for you and gives you a perfect English. But the issue is not here. So the message I want to give today is that you can use these softwares and it will help you in an incredible way writing scientific writings. Don't ask it to give you information. Rather, you write it and use it as a tool to help you in your English scientific writing. I'll show you what it can do. It will write a paper for you, believe it or not. I'll show you. Summarize. It can create a logo from scratch. You tell it, I want draw a logo for me. It can design a house for you. How many bedrooms, how many stories you want. It can draw the maps for you. This is opening a new era for our kids. And it will change the way we are doing science, actually. Summarize the association between HLA-B27 and ankylosing spondylitis. I'll show you something. How many paragraphs do you want it? In 5 paragraphs. You can give it any math equation. It will sort it for you and show you the steps how to solve it. So I'm asking it to summarize in 5 paragraphs. You can ask it to write the scientific references for you. So summarize it with scientific references. and it will do that for you. The references والله هذه ما جربتها لكن أنا I wouldn't use that يعني my advice, don't use the references it gives you, because sometimes it does not give the right reference. But what it wrote here بعرف, let's see, so this is 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs, 5 paragraphs, and it gives you the conclusion. In conclusion, the association between HLA-B27 development is strong, with gene being found in 90%. It summarizes the knowledge for you. But shall I use it for my daily scientific writing? My advice is not, because still it's not mature enough to bring you everything. But I'll show you a couple of other softwares that will يعني blow your mind. لكن the advice is try to be smart and not to let it use. Now the dilemma in scientific integrity and writing scientific papers, it will haunt journals, because these softwares actually, they wrote books. There are books in the library that completely written by these softwares, and it will haunt the editors that you don't know, is this a machine produced text or is it a human produced text? It can simulate data for you. You can ask it to simulate data. It will simulate data as if you have done research. And you can take that data and put it in a paper and you publish every day. You can publish a paper. طبعا I'll show you in my presentation. Nature, for example, they produced a new way to catch this type of writing by machine learning. So this is the first software. I'll show you the second one very quickly. This is called consensus, evidence-based answer. This is a scientific sort of artificial intelligence software. I asked a question, for example, what is better? Aspirin or Plavix? Just a question, you know. It will go search the scientific papers, summarize them, and gives you which one has a very high sort of. This is a paper published 2015, and it summarizes clopidogrel, which is Plavix plus aspirin, is superior to aspirin, and it will tell you this is a very rigorous journal. It will tell you this is highly cited. The safety tolerability of clopidogrel with plus aspirin is superior to this, and this is the p-value. This is just giving you a very sort of the cream of the paper with the reference, and if it is highly cited, so you know this is really a good journal and I can use it. You want it to click on it and you go for it. This is a very useful tool. But what you can do, you can take that statement, you can copy it, go to the other software and ask it to paraphrase it or rephrase it, and it will give you a completely correct English sentence with the scientific content, 100%, no problem with this. It will not change the scientific conclusion within the paper there. There is another one, very quickly, بعديها I will go to my lecture. This is called u.com. It's like Google, u.com. And it has a chat. You click on the chat, and you can write the same. You can ask it draw a map or write or summarize. The genetics of SLE, for example. And you can ask it 5 paragraphs, 10 paragraphs, 20 paragraphs. It will summarize it and bring it back to you. And you can use the same for this software, like ChatGPT, like ChatSonic. It will help you rewrite, rephrase your English. And if you have written a paragraph that might have some spelling or grammar issue, you just throw it there. It will correct it. Perfect English. You don't need anyone to proofread your paper anymore. You don't need that. Not only that, it can actually do the scientific writing. And it's still, this is just the beginning, by the way. Most of these softwares appeared just less than a month ago. Lakin, is there a use for them? And the title of my talk today, I don't know why I was giving that talk, Academic Integrity in Scientific Writing. And in the past, you have people writing things that mean, I remember Dr. Mohammed Muammari, he is an editor of Annals Thoracic Medicine, one of the best journals in Saudi Arabia. And he said to me, he received a paper from one of the neighboring countries. The author actually copied a New England Journal of Medicine paper, and he just changed the author name, and he just put his name instead of the original author. And it is stupid. In this era, I mean, you just go, you don't need Trenton or plagiarism software. You can just take it, search Google, it will tell you if this is copied from somewhere. And it was letter to the letter copy of that paper. That was the issue many editors used to suffer from, that people will go and change. And the guy, he did not even change the name of the hospital. He is from country X and the hospital is in country Y. And you will see these people who are, they think they are intelligent, I don't know. Like now, with this type of software, it will make life so difficult for the editors. I'll go to my talk. Sorry, this is just an introduction, and I'll do my talk in 5 minutes. When we write papers, we have these sort of headings usually. And any paper should answer 3 questions. Why it was done, or why it was needed before you start, and that is your introduction. And how did you carry out the method. And finally, so what? And that is your discussion and conclusion. Scientific integrity is being transformed because of these software, because of the computer, because of the internet, because of artificial intelligence. Scientific integrity is changing. And I'm not going to talk about scientific integrity. You can find this paper and you can really get a good grasp of what is academic and scientific integrity about. The following slides, not mine, I borrowed it from this guy. And you can find the original presentation in the internet. It's a huge presentation. I only selected a couple of them. So ChatGPT, it is the state-of-the-art language model. And it generates a human-like text. I showed you. And it can train itself in the way it writes things, by the way. The more questions you ask, the more you use it, the better it becomes. And it can summarize, you can talk to it in a chat sort of thing. It's about language translation. It's a tool, but it's not a solution. This is very important that we keep that in mind. I used ChatSonic to translate this paper from Swedish to English. And you cannot imagine the perfectionism in translating. By the way, it can write poems in Arabic. You can ask it, write a poem in Arabic, and it will write a poem in Arabic, by the way. طبعا بعدها شوية تتعلم عربي شوي يعني بعد ما صارت لغتها كويسة، لكن أعتقد with time it will amaze you. It can write songs and not only lyrics يعني الكلمات، لكن the music note. It can write a music note, by the way. Like this is a translation, and I did this myself using the same software. Again, this is what I showed you in scientific writing. You can ask it to write references, and it will give you references. Like, you have to be careful. Still, it's not mature enough in the scientific writing sense of using correct references, because it searches the internet, including PubMed, including other things, and brings back data. and it will pick up selected references. But that is coming. To select the correct reference, it's coming. It can summarize paper. You can give the actual citation of the paper, or you can just copy the link and ask it summarize, and it will summarize. And you cannot imagine the accurateness in its summarization. It summarizes papers in a really excellent way. It can generate essays. So your kids nowadays, if they have a homework and someone to ask them, the teacher, what about write an essay on solar system, or all it needs, just it will ask it, write an essay on solar system, 100 paragraphs, and it will give you 100 paragraphs. You cannot, يعني exam answers, actually they طبعا for cheating, ما cheating هذا يعني ما تسأل عليها, لأن you'll have the whole world and your mobile. It comes as app, by the way. مش مبينة هنا بس لا, they asked it to sit. They actually gave it the exams for the United States medical licensing exam, and it passed 95%. Low exam, it passed 90%. So it's a dilemma for educators about cheating. You need to monitor students, you need to educate students. Data collection. It can collect data, it can simulate data, it can produce fake data for you. طبعا summarization, you can ask questions, it can draft papers for you, it can find data, especially text-based. Text-based. By the way, you can have a copy of the paper يعني, of this presentation. طبعا most of it is not mine, يعني, لكن you can have it. So it's not a substitute to human expert analysis, but it can bring text for you and analyze it. This is a paper that appeared recently in Nature, and I wanted really to show it to you. And the editors in Nature, in major journals, they are seeing the threat of this technology. And they are saying that tools like ChatGPT threatens the transparent science. And they are trying to use tools to spot the machine learning text. They are trying to put a pressure on the owners of these softwares to put some sort of watermark, so that the journal will, it's a hidden watermark, not a watermark that you can see in an image. A watermark that within the text, the editor can go and check that this is a software generated text. But believe me, Turintin, yesterday I was practicing with Turintin plagiarism check software, and they say that they have devised a tool that can spot a machine written text, and it did not. I tell you this. I tried it yesterday. But still, this is only the beginning طبعا. Transparency and trustworthiness in scientists and research must have method, integrity, and the truth from the authors. And I think in the future, editors will ask people to write a declaration that their text is not machine generated. And I will stop here. I'm happy to take questions. I hope I gave you something new today. Thank you.